I call next.
I want Benji to set
follow
the
a format
and the example for everyone else.
Present
the rest.
Wow, that's too loud.
Okay, so as I already said, Benji, it's just kind of formal, but you don't have to overthink it, and again, this is kind of setting you up for what you guys will be doing, I think. Yeah, for the history essay, which may be a little more serious, because I think you guys are going to be writing more and spending more time talking, which is what Justin's really been wanting you guys to do this entire time, is learn how to talk and express your ideas verbally. So, so yeah, just do your best. Don't repeat yourself too much by trying to fill in time. Just express your ideas in the best way you know how. Try to do it in a structured way. Like another thing about presentations, guys, that you don't have much experience with is like using word fillers like and just things like that. But you're going to do that, so don't feel too bad about it. But those are the kind of things that you try to learn to avoid in public speaking. But again, don't overthink it and just do your best. And you can get started if you want. Just a good 2-3 minutes of expressing ideas.
Should we stand?
Concerning humility and pride. No, you don't have to stand. Just stay over
here. You can. I'm too tall. I can't see.
Everyone else, please be respectful when people are talking. Don't snicker and laugh. And that literally is super distracting.
Disrespectful, man.
It wastes time and veers the person's train of thought.
That's right.
Course.
No, I mean
I know. I'm covering my
Straight up. Sit up. Yeah.
Go ahead, Benji.
Ready to fall into sleep.
Alright, well, today I wanted to share a little bit of my own perspective on humility. It's not really, it's just mine. It's not like, I don't know if it's the correct understanding or the whole understanding, but I just wanted to briefly go over my understanding and what I've learned from it. So, since the beginning I was taught about humility, I've always thought of it as basically a humbled heart. So there's different things that your humility can come out of, and I think it really depends on like what you believe and your standpoint in life. But for me, it's been it doesn't have to be like a show or something that you put on. It's something in between you and your Heavenly Father. So just something that you come before Him in humility, only before Him, not really to showcase for others. I mean, there's also lots of ideas that the world has put out there of humility, and I think that it's a very deep and very hard thing to grasp all the way. But there's many false and true things of humility, and there's very many people who project themselves as having the true way of humility, when really it's not coming down to what God said humility was. And I think that's something that we definitely tend to not really ask ourselves, is like, are we actually like working in humility, and are we coming to God with that humility that's true? And so I just wanted to kind of just say that having a humbled heart and to a place where you recognize not only your value, because many people who say think that they have true humility will try to give everything of themselves or be lesser than everyone else, when the truth is, even though that's a really important part of humility, or parts of humility, that the truth is that your value should be found in God and not really in anything that the world could give you. And like I was saying, that you should definitely like value others above yourself, definitely, but where your value, like where you try to find your value and what your worth should be from God. and His heart for you and His role. So yeah, I just wanted to say that it's a very common and worldly thing to just feel bad for yourself and like try to practice a way that's definitely like not of yourself, and you're just trying to show them how you're basically just putting on a show to make yourself look better. It all leads back to selfness and selfish ways, when you really need to humble your heart and be selfless for God. So, not trying to put on a show, but having God, when God speaks to you in a way where He wants you to show it, and He wants you to be an example to others with it, I think that's when, you should try to make an effort to show others your wisdom and your knowledge, and humble your heart to a lower perspective of your own importance, but still having that trajectory that you are valuable in His eyes. And that's mainly what I want to cover.
Great, thanks, Benji. Let's try.
This is your first time to do public presentation?
What? Yeah, that's my first time.
Your first time?
Pretty good, yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely better than me. My first time.
If I don't know if the format will work for this, and considering the amount of time we have, but I would like at least one person to comment on maybe their ideas of Benji's presentation. I'll give some of my thoughts and we'll move on to the next one.
I'm ready to comment on everybody's.
Okay.
Ask questions. So you said God idea about humility, but I think you maybe had it described in your essay, but you in the presentation seems you just take for granted everybody understand what that is. I think better give a definition of that. What you think God in God's side, what humility look like for us? So in your idea. So
You want me to
yeah, just answer that question.
what it looks like in God's eyes?
Yeah, in your understanding, you definitely mentioned that God, in God's side, what the humility truly is, man's side. Thank you. See, that is good girl. Sorry. Yeah.
That's all jokes.
Yeah. That's terrible. Sorry. Good. Let's give a killer a hard time. So.
Well, God really just wants you to further grow His community and His people.
Yeah.
And I think humility is often overlooked as something that needs to be played out and practiced in our lives. But I think His idea is always just to value other people on this earth, and
Before yourself.
before yourself, obviously, but also Himself. Like,
Also not selfish, thinking about
But I think it's also very clear that what He says is He wants you to know that you are valuable.
you're valuable.
So-
Self-worth
So,
in a sense.
just coming to that balance of knowing that you're valuable, but still valuing others over yourself, and that's-
Hard thing to do, huh?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
very hard thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's very wonderful. I like the perspective taken there. So confidence and humble. Seems contradictory in the world, but in God, actually perfect unison there. So unless actually you're comfortable or confident in yourself, you don't know what it means to be humble. Actually, right? So in a sense, Anyway, so good job. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you did a great job, Benji, especially as this was, I guess, your first time to do this kind of like a formal way. Like the execution of your presentation, so basically the way you carried yourself and presented your thoughts was pretty good. You had a good flow. There weren't a lot of pauses where you're kind of like, is he going to keep going? Like sometimes people do that in their speeches. And I guess one criticism I would perhaps have is your eye contact, which I guess is a big thing that people emphasize too, is to make sure that you're not looking down too much when you're talking. But that didn't really seem to hinder the effectiveness of your presentation. I think you still did very good in spite of that. And as to the relevance of your presentation to your essay, I'm going to be grading all these points, by the way, after this. Give you a grade, give a
thank
connection
you.
to the essay, with in combination, both the essay and your presentation, we go together to affect your grade. But I think your relevance, the relevance of your presentation to your essay, like if there were ideas that kind of went together there, I think you did well there.
Okay.
Like you didn't kind of go off on some tangent, but it kind of was adhering to the ideas you were expressing in your essay well. And the ideas themselves, I think, were also really good. So,
Thank you.
yeah, I think you did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Move on to Naomi.
Go on tangent.
Next.
Okay, you back? I thought you were in Mars moments ago.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, okay. Down to earth now.
Alright. Humility and pride. So, with humility and pride, I think I'm going to start off by talking about humility and just the goodness that it can do really in anyone's life if they choose to accept it in their life. And it involves yourself, and it involves your relationships, and how you even relate to other people. And like what Benji said, it is really a heart's choice in how you present yourself to people. And even in my own life, I feel like humility is not the first thing that you choose. It's because I think it's really putting down a lot of yourself when using humility. It's the opposite of pride.
Yeah.
And it is taking up just a selfless life in communing with others and even yourself and in the Lord, and humbling yourself in things that are good and fulfilling for your life. And in my own life, I've, especially recently, tried to practice that a lot, just because obviously we know it's a really good trait and it's something good for your heart to be in practice of. Because we want the opposite of pride and not a selfish life. So with pride, this was a little bit confusing to me because I've always thought that there were, and there are, good parts of pride. Which I had to go to a couple people, my dad and my grandpa, to talk about this because I was like, there's something in me like telling me that there are parts of pride that are not unhealthy. Though pride is a very, very unhealthy mindset, there are parts of pride that can be sustainable for even our self-confidence in life. And but that comes to it's just very small amount. There's not it's not a big thing about pride, that anyways, I don't know where I'm going. But like
it's context.
Yeah.
Context. Yeah.
And I didn't want to go too far down that road because pride is obviously not a good mindset. It is very selfish and a very selfish way of living and mindset. So so after I talked with my grandpa about it, he taught me, or they helped me a lot with understanding just some parts of pride that were good. And he talked about, I don't think I'm going to go too far on that road because I don't know much about it, but I do want to do more study on the parts of pride that are not unhealthy. Anyways, So we all know that pride is a very unhealthy, for the most part, mindset, and going ahead of yourself and just thinking, oh, well, the way I look is more important than what God sees in our heart is obviously a very prideful way of thinking. And I think that we should really just take up more humility in our life and choose which one, because you're either going to produce a seed of a humble heart or more of a prideful heart. And myself and others around me, I would really like to see more of a humble heart towards each other, and just even being humble to bring each other together. Because the more humble you are, the more I think you bring each other together instead of having your own way of thinking and not talking to other people about what they may think about in your life. And I think that's part of having a humble heart, is going to others and seeking their wisdom for even your own life and not your own. So I'm sure I could talk about some more stuff that I have in my essay, but I didn't really have that much time this morning to just go over it again. But
why not? Give you time to do that.
What? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I actually wasn't here this morning. But anyways, yeah, that's about it.
Sorry to interrupt you.
That's alright.
All right,
It's
thanks,
a little bit
Gary.
jumbled.
I think you did a good job. In essence, also some struggle about definitions
Yeah,
of
for sure.
what humility, pride, those things.
Yeah.
And there's each word can be used in different contexts, right?
Yeah.
So, but in our context, they appear together as a contrast. So pride,
Right,
everything is the
exactly.
wrong thing. So yeah, you can divide it a portion and say, hey, there are certain contexts, pride is a good thing, or humility is a bad thing, actually, So
Right.
yeah, something you can do to help people. So I can do it. I can't help it, right? So therefore, seems like a pride. But if you said, I don't do it, I don't know how to do it, like a little bit really gonna help people,
Yeah.
So, or lack of confidence to help people, whereas you can be a great help, So, yeah, that's just the way how different work being used, So I think in this case, true humility is that, hey, I have been down this 100 times. I'm really good at it. I can help you. Give to me. I can help you. So, to people who don't know that, they will think it's prideful. To you, it's just something you can solely do and help. It's rather humble offer. So making sense to you. So, yeah. That's it. Good job.
Yeah, I think you did good, Naomi. I will say, actually, for both presentations so far, you guys have gone considerably over the time limit, which is not a terrible thing, but it is good to have your thing or your presentation's structure as it relates to time. I know.
You're timing them? I thought.
Well, I gave a bit like a somewhat flexible limit of like
Sure.
2 to 3 minutes of speech, and that one was a good probably 5 minutes or more, and that's Benji's was long too. Benji went over time too, and it's not a bad thing to go over time.
You guys already done 5 minutes. Okay.
But what I'm another thing too is your present, like the execution is the word I use to describe the way that you present yourself in the presentation. It was a little scattered, I will say that.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able, since you only just sent me the essay, I haven't been able to review the essay very much. But I can tell you also really went into the process of your writing of the essay more than you went into the ideas you actually express into it. You did both, but and sometimes that can actually be a very smart and effective thing to do. But in the case of this, I was really wanting you guys to present the ideas that you had in your essay, while probably a good half or more of your time you're describing the process that was going through your mind when you were trying to figure out and discover these ideas, which was interesting for us to hear and useful in many ways too. But it did cause the execution of the essay to, I guess, to falter a little bit. And I'll have to review the relevance to the essay too. But I do think your ideas were interesting and inspiring in many ways, and I'll have to review that as well as I look through your essay. So, nice job overall. Okay, we're gonna have Elijah go next.
Oh wow. Yeah, go through. I like it.
Who are we without our pride?
Okay.
Who are we not without our humility? Sometimes I look at pride and humility in my recent studies of each topic, and I see them as water and oil. I see pride as the oil, and I see humility as the water. Pride, always seeking the top. Humility as the water down below, not seeking to rise above. So first, let's look at pride. We see pride as something that affects each one of us in life to always bring us to the top, to be the best, it's more of a mindset of wanting to be the best that we can be, and taking pride in it, taking happiness or accomplishment in what we are. And that can be used in different ways. We can take accomplishment in ourselves. We can take accomplishment in others. I always think of it in a way as I see a father who looks at their son and they take pride in that, and that's a good side of pride, but
very good side.
but also pride can have its downsides, and we can be controlled by it and become a sour taste in each relationship we have. And then we look at humility and we see something that can counter that, something that can be a medicine to a infection of pride, which can bring us to a place of receptiveness and respect towards others. And in my essay, I wrote an example. I wrote an example of, say, you're in a soccer team, and you play long for hours, and you end up outscoring the other team, winning. And as you take in your victory, you look around and you see your other teammates, and you see some of them bouncing around in joy, and some of them even mockingly towards the other team who was lost. And then you see other ones shaking the hands respectively of those who they played hard against. And you look and you observe, and which action are you going to take? Which part are you going to be a part of? And what culture are you going to represent in this
That's
way?
right.
So yeah, that's my observation of
Which one are you
pride.
going to belong to?
Wow.
In that situation, the humble one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Good job.
Very good one. Yeah. Good week. Good. I don't have a lot of comment because you do such a good job. So I'm gonna have somebody else talk about this.
What?
Yeah. Somebody like we're picking on you. I have a father kind of like pride. If you will. Yeah. Everybody, you did a good job. I'm just teasing you guys, okay? Yeah. Well, seems the kid like eager to comment, so I would not
So
interrupt
eager.
your program. So
No,
go ahead. Yeah.
I actually really liked the way that you expressed it. I feel like it's
That's
very
right.
well thought out. Like maybe not even that thought out. You could have just thought of it in the moment, but still, like the way you use things to kind of help explain it, because the way I learn in most things is somebody has to either give me a ton of examples or like show me in a certain way, and I feel like I could really understand exactly your point, because when you use examples to express what you think, I feel like that's the beauty of writing, even if you weren't like even if that had nothing to do with any of the words you put in your essay, it's still like speech, and kind of like what we've been talking about, the freedom of speech. Also, like, this is the beauty of it, is because you can express so many feelings. So I really liked it.
Thank you.
Good job. Comments were good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think you did very well in your presentation. The execution was really good. I like how you started out very, what's the word?
Engaging.
Yeah, you're very engaging. You use a lot of what is considered in like public speaking to be like rhetorical devices where
Rhetorical devices.
Yeah,
Ask questions. Yeah.
yeah, by asking. I think I don't remember exactly what you said. Well, I actually do realize. I think it was in the beginning. You like made some pretty solid statements. So your voice, not the way your voice actually sounds, but when I say voice, it's like writing voice. You know,
Yeah.
we use voice. Your voice was very confident, which is a really important thing to have both in your writing and presentation. So that's definitely a good thing. I think you stuck very, very well with the both the ideas expressed and even the order in which those ideas were expressed in your essay, in your presentation. So that the relevance to the essay also was very well done. The ideas themselves are very good because you used a lot of figurative language too, by expressing the relationship between pride and humility being like oil and water.
Oil and water. That's right. Yeah,
You
that's
used
good.
an example of the soccer team. Those are really, really smart things to do both in writing and in presentation. So pretty much overall you did a really good job.
Thank you.
Yep, and then I'll grade that later on your essay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do Kayla next.
Do you mind if I read this Bible verse really quick, just at the beginning?
Yeah, do whatever you think is best. It's your presentation.
This is kind of like what my thought of was this. Is this Proverbs
listen,
2. When pride comes, then comes shame. But, oh wait, this is not the right, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. This is not the right way to read it. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
When pride comes, then comes shame. But with humility comes wisdom. And that's kind of what I feel like the essay, my essay is mostly about, because I did research, and starting off with humility, I looked it up in the dictionary, and the definition of humility is someone that is unimportant or not grand. But when you look at the Bible and the way it expresses humility, it says pretty much the exact opposite. I believe somewhere in James it says, "Who is wise among you? Let them show you by their good deeds and good life with their humility and wisdom." And it just goes to show that through humility, like what the Lord thinks of humility is someone who is very wise. And you could see from the worldly standpoint, you don't really see, like, you just see as someone who makes themselves less than they really need to be because they're humble. But really the thing is, if you make yourself less than and put the Lord or other people before you, that makes you kind of higher in authority or makes you more of a leader in that way. And it just shows like how the world can take something so beautiful and so like expressive and amazing as a word and kind of dumb it down just to be something that it's really not. So it's kind of like I feel like they've done this a lot nowadays. If they've taken something that's amazing, what's supposed to be good, and they've made it into something that it's not supposed to be. I don't have an exact example of that, but there are things that you could think of probably that are like that. But it's amazing to me how the world has taken that. Sorry, I repeated that a couple times. But with pride, it's kind of different because the definition of pride is also like in a good sense. It can be a good thing. Like I take pride in my artwork or homework or something I did as an accomplishment. But in the negative way, it says someone who is focused on themselves. So self-centered person. And in the Bible, it pretty much, I feel like it's the same exact thing, but it kind of gives more of like a hatred towards pride. And in another verse, it talks about how like the Lord hates pretty much despises. I'm saying I'm so many times. I'm so sorry. How he hates pride. So he talks a lot about that in a lot of different verses I've read, which is the same, pretty much the same thing, but I feel like the same as humility. Yeah. How they dumb it down, but in this they don't take it far enough to what it actually is. But I feel like if you're gonna also, a good way to explain humility is like we were talking about earlier, how you would pour, if I were to pour into Esther and say how much like I love what she does and encourage her, then she should be encouraged to do the same to Benji or her siblings or whatever. And then let's say Elijah pours into me, so then I am encouraged to do that. Sure. It gives you more, I feel like it makes you humble and have more humility towards things. And the same as with pride, I mean, it's a terrible thing. Yeah. So you try to hold back your pride and rebuke it if it tries to come into your heart, and let the humility take over. That's right. And always compare things to what the world says to the Bible, because you'll obviously get further in life and you will obviously have a better point of view in life, apparently.
I like it. Well, Esther get excited. well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Good job. Good job.
Very good.
I never done. You have not done public presentation. So the first time I see you talking something, just really in the good ways. I need to spend more time with you to hear how you speak. So we're good.
Thank you.
We're good. Everyone doing a good job. You know why Naomi is she's so relaxed. You know, she's a lot of excellence in her. She does not have a hard time to express it, to organize it.
What?
What? I don't get it all. Okay, then forget about it. So, yeah. Anyway, you're too intimidated by the presentation. See? Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Ask Noah about it. So, Noah is my interpreter. So. Huh? No? Noah's turn? Okay, good. Yeah. Comments?
You did a very good job on your presentation. Again, I think this is really a first time for everyone kind of thing. I don't think you guys are...
Bless you!
I think it's your first time to do like a formal presentation like this. So in that respect, I think you and everyone else has been doing a great job. There was, I think at the beginning there, kind of like fumbling around to figure out the verse and stuff, which is okay. That's okay. And then losing your train of thought is something that happens to all of us. So those are certainly excusable things. But overall, I think the flow of your presentation was really good. Your essay, as it was supposed to be, was very simple. So the thoughts you put out were very straightforward, and you didn't expound upon them. When the presentation you did, and that is an acceptable thing. But that you expound on to such a degree that it almost began to lose track to the relevance of the essay, just formally speaking. However, the essay still serves its purpose as being kind of like the foundation of your thoughts. So expounding on what you wrote in your essay is a perfectly fine thing to do. And that's also another reason I had given you guys a time limit, is so that it would fit with the amount of ideas you were able to express in the essay. Because the more you speak, the more you're going to be going off track from what is written in the essay. And in that case, you did obviously go over the time limit, which is fine, totally fine. We're very much happy to receive the thoughts that you had, and I think a lot of those thoughts, as they did kind of even go off track from the essay a little bit, and you were expounding on things. A lot of that was I think what you call impromptu speech. So you didn't have a lot of the ideas memorized, but you were kind of bring a lot from what you kind of had within you in your mind, which is actually a really good thing to do, a good thing to practice. So in that sense, you did a really good job. And as for the ideas themselves, very relevant, very inspiring, and overall very well done. So thank you.
Who's unhappy about it? Who wants to challenge the verdict? Sorry. Good comments. I like it.
Okay.
Noah doing multiple aspects to humanity.
Did you had started recording this at the beginning?
Yeah, I
Okay,
did.
good, because
You lost it?
mine
Okay.
wasn't recording, so I'm really glad.
It's okay. I did. So.
Thank you.
Oh.
Esther is gonna be the next. And the last
Next
one.
time we're gonna do purposes, I'm gonna put a camera on, see how you sit, stand, how you brush your hair, stuff
I know,
that.
it just
So,
started after we
yeah.
finished, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that.
Yeah. I know you. I know. Something tell me. Something tell me. Somebody tell me. Hey, record it. So
Thank the
no
Lord.
one will mess it up. Maybe.
Of all the times I mess up, it's when they're giving the presentation.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Okay.
Esther,
Esther,
you can.
you
get
don't have to
started.
be 4-eye to do presentation. You can take down the second set eyes. She looks much wiser with 4 eyes going
Yep.
on.
Put 'em on. No.
No, it's terrible.
Alright.
All right.
Humility and pride.
Mm-hmm.
So humility and pride are pretty much the complete opposites. And so with humility, it really is about like lifting others up and loving other people and not like putting yourself first before other people. And I think that's what people do with pride is they lift themselves above others. And I think it's interesting because it's kind of hard to see your pride sometimes.
Yeah.
Like people don't even notice that they're being prideful, and they'll see other people's mistakes and not their own. And I think that's kind of an interesting part of pride. And it's also really important because I feel like some people will think that it's weak or something to express themselves. Like they think they should keep everything inside themselves and handle it with their own mind instead of if having troubles or going through something hard, they will try to work it out in their own mind and heart instead of speaking to others. And I think it's really important to go to people you trust and who you know have good wisdom and to speak to them about it, and because they can help you grow through the experience, especially with like elders, and especially in our community. We have a lot of very trusted people with very good wisdom, and with your parents as well. But it's really important to let out inside of yourself and to speak your troubles in your mind. I also wrote in my essay this powerful quote by C.S. Lewis, and it says, "True humility is not to think yourself as less, but to think of yourself less." And I think that's
beautiful
really,
expression.
Yeah. I probably said it wrong.
No, you didn't. You're fine.
I think a lot of people will take humility and they'll put it in themselves that they are like nobody and that they don't mean anything. And like they say like they're bad at stuff or they don't look good. But I think with true humility, you don't like make yourself more important to others, and you still put others before yourself, but I think it's also important to respect yourself and see your own worth in your life. That's all.
That's true.
Nice job. Really nice job.
You're right.
You copied this.
Oh, seriously?
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Good job. Well, who want to comment on Esther's thing? Elijah is good. I want to hear Elijah's thoughts.
You don't?
I want to hear
Okay.
your thoughts. When I mention your name, associated comments, that's means. Yeah, I want to
Sorry,
hear.
I thought you said I don't want to hear Elijah's thoughts.
No, I want to hear it.
I heard you wrong.
Yes.
I think you did pretty good on your representation of humility and pride.
Okay.
Like, I like the example you gave of people like using it as like an excuse for like being down on themselves, and that's just like self-pity. That's not humility. So like, that's a good point that you made.
Yeah. Self-abasement. I like
Yeah.
that word. Am I? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you made some really good points, and I didn't read your essay, so I don't know how well you like went with it. But
That's pretty much all I did. That's all for my essay.
but yeah.
He and Benji is not engaging because they're fighting on the table or something like this.
What?
They were have a fight.
He stole my hat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They lost their attention. See.
But you did a good job.
Thanks.
That's like seeing nothing.
I said
Keep hard eyes. Yeah. No, I want to comment. I think you did an excellent job. Esther, I think you did an excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was surprised by the way you carry yourself, talking about it. And the insight you had, there are a few very insightful things that it seems, it's like like a brilliant diamond, school beyond your age, so something, I think that's because you have a very inquisitive and teachable heart, you listen to those things, so go to elder for counsel as action and we going about a humble life, right? So that is very practical, so rather than have a self-independent way solve your own problems, so that is by nature's pride, right? So in a sense, but the practical is very harmful for yourself because why don't receive other help? And help is really available and much needed, so. But that's what world tell us to do, right? Don't put out the shell. Inside is tormented. Inside is a mess, right? So yeah. I mean, many people conduct their life, the whole life like that, and become miserable, right? Their relation becomes toxic. Just talking. Now that is because it's all started with a wrong way to appropriate life, how to cross life, how to divide relationships. So, yeah, so pride don't have to be agitational thing, to change up to heaven, but it's just inside the way how you carry yourself, decide yourself. So now, when Noah finished commenting, or then I'm gonna read something together with you guys and move on with other discussion. Go ahead, Noah.
Yeah, I think you really stood out in this activity, Esther. I think both your essay and your presentation turned out really well. I could tell you were very collected during the presentation, so your execution was really good. I could see you were trying to be diligent with your eye contact, making sure that you were presenting yourself well during your speech. I could tell that you had really studied hard to make sure that your ideas expressed in the presentation went well and in order with your essay, because you're just reading along the essay here as you went. It went along point for point very well, so you did really good there.
Good.
Your ideas, even as Emmanuel was saying, were really nice and well thought out. I apologize for not really going into or expounding too much on everyone's ideas, because I think today that was mostly Emmanuel's job as things played out. I've been focusing more on the way
Technical side,
like
presentation.
that's kind of been my focus today, because just some time and things. But I'm not expounding. on
That's
that.
humility. He gave the room to do it.
That's funny. Yeah. But overall, Esther, I think you did really, really well. There are some things, like in essay writing or in poetry writing, that you tend to struggle on. But that's what I'm saying today. I think this combination of short essay plus presentation turned out. You turned out to do really, really well.
Very good. Very
Yeah,
good job.
That's why I said you stood out today. Very good.
Excellent job. Continue. I'm gonna read something with you guys. Go from there. Some maybe pray together. The things I like is that Esther quoted C.S. Lewis, that very beautiful saying there. Kayla quoted the Bible. Somebody quoted certain things. So that's very thoughtful. So it's not redundant quotation. Rather, we're relevant to our topic, right? So that means we're good. So now here's a quotation. Another one is from the Bible, but it's actually is a Kayla's quotation in the midst of presentation. But this one I want to share a little bit personal testimony with you. I was struggling with the pride and humility for some time, and actually borderline was the idea that your thing. What I mean, how self-worth, self-confidence, I don't same time have a humble heart, don't have a self-confidence go about. It's a huge struggle, so, and I'm glad you guys in your age begin to think along those lines, what it means. And that is part of Esther, the main point as well. But when I struggled with that, I just try to give you a context why I came this verse had a huge impact on me. And I thought, wow, so how to nurture humility? Because I don't know what true humility is. Humility can just be kind, to be nice, so. But I feel maybe that's not what it's really all about, so. Then, because some part of me is a little bit rough-edged, stubborn, and it can be when I know something, I'm very strong with it, and cause a lot of offense to certain people, and so I was struggling. Is that because I have pride? And then come to the Lord said, no, that's not because you have pride. So what's the deal of this, so the Lord began to talk to me. It's because you don't know how to present yourself. You lack wisdom. So I begin to think, oh wow, okay, for truth to be beneficial to others, take some learning curve to know how to deliver the message, and right, to speak in a way that take others, take your audience, what they need before you. That's always a struggle, I think, for everybody, but particularly for me. So especially when I learn the Lord about the word called eccentric. Somebody eccentric, that's me. So everything in my mind. So anyway, so God then brings this verse to me. I was like a light shooting out of the verse. I'm literally, what? I never understood this about humility. So here's the verse. So in James 3 chapters 13 said, who is wise, understanding among you? Let them show it, so you can show that, by their good life, and then by deeds done in humility that come from wisdom. So finally, I saw my big struggle, because I began to understand there's no true humility without wisdom, right? You can't see anybody really truly humble. He's just nobody, know nothing, can do nothing. He has to be humble, right? In a sense, so he's incapable or not knowledgeable. It's just empty shell in a sense. Then for sure he's not. His word, his deeds don't carry much weight and impact on others. But if you are humble enough and you have full of wisdom, then you be humble. That's the way, basically, what true humility is supposed to be about. You're not humble for nothing, but humble because you have something to operate. You appropriate others and situation, see what I can be used for the person, the situation, rather than insert your own ideas, your attitudes upon the thing. So then he's talking about the opposite of this life is jealousy. This is interesting topic this morning. I was still in the middle of a reading called the jealousy. You know, the author goes through a list of terrible incidents in the Bible about being jealous of others' achievements, others' wisdom, others' positions, whatever. You know, so I think. But anyway, he said that such wisdom in 15 now. Noah, can you read on for us to the end of the chapter? Yeah.
Where
Sure.
is that?
3:15, James.
Verse 15 says, Such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, demonic.
To have some kind of wisdom, right? Built on jealousy, strife, competition, or self-importance, if you will.
For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice. But the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. Peacemakers who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness.
Well, we don't expound too much, but 18 words tied down with this wisdom, the humility, the envy, jealousy. Interesting enough, am I right? That's because peacemakers means those who make a peaceful relationship, right? Peacemakers is a good term, as if it's a stop war, stop violence. The truth of the matter is in everyday relationship, right? So do you have a peaceful, godly, beneficial, mutual, honoring, and loving relationships? And then come back, Jesus said, blessed are those who are the peacemakers, right? For they shall be called sons of the kingdom of God, right? Sons of God. To make peace. Sow in peace, reap a harvest of righteousness. Huge. To sow in peace means develop humbly, develop godly relationships, right? Loving relationships. So the world is full of strife, world full of self-importance, self-conceit, sometimes even, we can call it pride, right? So some of those dumb stupidities, I'm sorry, right? So, and then, the people of the world cheer them on, sometimes even give a lot of room for them to wrong whatever they're wronging. Then the ones seem quiet, reserved, withdraw, or try to be humble, just being of a service, and continue to be, as Kila mentioned, not paying much importance to it, right? So hope through this discussion, our purpose was not necessarily merely for you to do a good essay presentation, to learn, to reflect what the vision of life in God, in friendship, is really about. With that, we're going to have Naomi, why don't you lead us in prayer in this slide?
Yes, Lord, I just thank you, Lord, for these principles, Lord, of wisdom, Lord, for each one's life, Lord. I pray that we would, Lord, just humble ourselves in you, Lord, in your ways of life, and in your will, Lord, for our purpose and the ones around us, Lord. Lord, I thank you, Lord, just for the love that each one has here for each other and for you, Lord, and for Lord, your life and theirs. And Lord, I pray that we would just continue to work together in this culture, Lord, to build up your body and your people, and just your way of life, for others to see and to be drawn to, Lord. Lord, I thank you, Lord, just for each one here, Lord, and just Lord, the relationships that we are building. Lord, I pray that you would continue to bless those, and Lord, just the wisdom that you give, Lord, will be shared through each other and to others. in your name. Amen.
Amen. Well, Kayla, you pray for us well, then Noah ramp for us. You guys are wonderful. You know, those topics, the thoughts you brought up, heartfelt affirmation of those truths or thoughts, wonderful thoughts. You know, just doing intellectual exercise, I can feel that. It's hard to really think deeply what that means for your individual life. That's something very special, you know, so very special for each one of you. Naomi, you might feel, I need to do a presentation. The fact that you go to your parents, go to your grandpa, there is a humility there, right? So in action, you know, so, I mean, come on, you know, so that's what life is about. So we devising whatever the word arrange those kind of discussions for you guys more than a student the topic or subject good with those things. Want you guys to use those opportunities to interact with your parents, your greater community of your life, and to activate some good principle life, learn godly ways, right? So that's most important. And we celebrate the things that you're doing in that regard. So you know, we're not here to just do academic, right? So, yeah. But on the other hand, we want to learn to have good speech, good thoughts, good conversations of whatever need to be done. So, go ahead, Kayla.
Well, Father, we thank you for today. And thank you that we each got to share what we think humility is and what it is about, Lord. I pray that you would have each of us not be afraid or uncomforted when we would share about you, Lord, that we would feel okay and wanting to share with each other, that we would not be afraid of what one another think about what you have to say, we have to say, Lord, and that you would have us all be more bold to share and express and reach out to other people to make new relationships, Lord. And that you would help put those relationships in place. Father, I thank you that we get this opportunity to have relationships at this age, and deeper than a worldly relationship, a godly relationship. To have someone to come to, like the adults and even the people around us in our community, Lord, that you would shape a culture in all of us, and that we can share and correct each other, but in a leading and humble way, Lord, that you would set aside our pride, and that we would come to you in everything and all the questions, and that we wouldn't compare things of you to this world in a negative way, Lord, that we would compare the world to what you want it to be, to make a more perfect union, Lord, as we, the people, should be shaping our culture. Father, I thank you for this beautiful day. Even if the sun doesn't shine, Lord, I thank you for all these amazing people that I get to be in class with, Lord. And I pray this in Jesus' name.
Thank you, Kayla. Bless the Lord.
Lord, yes, I do agree with these prayers. Lord, I do thank you for the hearts of all those here, Lord, that are learning to submit to you, Lord, and that are willing to participate in, Lord, the true purpose behind the times that we set apart on these days, Lord, to practice the building of your culture. And Lord, and I do thank you and pray a blessing over, Lord, the educational efforts, Lord, of each one of the young ones here. Lord, that it would be, Lord, used by you in such a way, Lord, that your destiny for each life is made known, Lord, that the relationships between them and between teacher and student as well, Lord, would flourish, Lord, under your spirit and the leading thereof. Lord, I do even thank you for the topic that we went over these last 2 weeks around humility and pride, Lord, for the relationships you built there, Lord, as parents discuss such matters with their children, Lord, and the opportunities that you open for those sort of things, Lord, I pray that you would continue to do so, Lord, as it is a blessing to both your people, Lord, and to you, Lord, to observe it. Lord, I do also pray, Lord, even as we looked at the scripture earlier, Lord, which mentions that humility does, in fact, come, Lord, from wisdom, Lord, which is the practice of this life, Lord, living by the standards that you have for your people. So may we take this to heart, Lord, emphasizing ever more, Lord, the importance, Lord, and the value that wisdom has in our lives, Lord, and the value of the practice of wisdom. So, Lord, I pray that each one would be blessed with this knowledge and with this pursuit, Lord, throughout their lives. I pray these things in Jesus' name.
Jesus.
Amen.
Next time when